I haven't started actually. We'll start in about 5 minutes. Okay, you have 2 more minutes. All right, it's time's up. If you are done, please submit to me. Or on your way out, you can submit that to me. For the remaining questions, please do at home. So you have about another 25 minutes to 30 minutes. Please time yourself, okay? Please time yourself because it will be important for you to time yourself. Please bring back that one next week. Okay. Next week we're going to start integration. Okay, we're going to start integration next week. I'm intending to finish up integration before the end of the Christmas break. So by Christmas break, then you should be able to finish most of the canvas. So the next terms when you come back, it's going to be statistics. You can focus on the statistics. So you can go. Thank you. And this one. Thank you. Are you okay? You don't really know how to do it. None of them? You're only. Okay, let me check. I think you will need to. Okay. Maybe you start from the next lessons where integration comes. Okay. I'm still thinking how to help you to catch up now because this is going to be a very foundation. I think eventually when your school's catching up, it should be okay. That's one thing. What's your school doing?
My school just started.
Start doing it. Okay, so eventually you should be okay catching up. But from the integration, it's not necessarily that you need to know this exactly, but we can actually revise a little bit on this, and then afterwards you can catch up with the integration. So from next week onwards, you need to catch up.
Okay, so I'll try to do that.
Yeah, please try to revise, okay?
Yeah.
I think you need to revise as well. Do you really catch what is planning? Or is it like not catching it at all?
Oh, so I have like some brief breakdown. So
Okay.
I read the stuff, it just went through.
I think you need to go back and revise before you do your the other part. Okay? You revise them and then do the other part. Right? Okay? Yeah. Okay. See you. Okay, where are my students?
So I was at school, and we were talking. I was like, "Oh, Alvin, you know, this is a picture of Alex on the school." No, Alex at school. Hello, sir.
Hi.
Good, thank you.
Only two of you?
Yeah, it's just the two of us.
Really?
Yeah.
No, Rayson should be here.
Oh, no, Racing
Racing's sick.
escaping.
Huh?
He was here for English, but then he said he had to go home because he was sick. He's feeling a bit unwell, that's what he said.
How are we going to do the test? Cannot be.
We can leave it to next week.
Yeah,
No.
please show me.
And start what's it called, polynomials right now, I guess.
Yeah, because
How about
I've
Harjus?
never seen
Pardon?
these in school.
Harjus.
I think, I'm not sure, he was downstairs, but I'm not sure if it's both of
Yeah,
them.
he should be coming.
Just talking with
So
the
let's
receptionist.
let's wait for a while.
Alright, sure.
Yeah, I thought she was one. So I was like,
Yeah, no,
typing.
she's asking me very,
Seriously?
very seriously. She said that.
And I was like, and she was like, give me a reason.
Most of all, I was like, yeah, let's Vanessa said hi, and then she meets you. Oh, I thought you guys were going home. Oh, no. Test.
Rayson, can you like just, okay, I mean, no, this is not a test day, it's just a review, then after we will next, I mean, the last 45 minutes is going to be the test.
Okay.
I mean, before we do a test, it's just do a quick recap on the.
Wait, I forgot how to do it. No, wait, I swear to God, I know how to do it last Sunday, but then now I forgot. What? I forgot how to draw a parabola. I was doing this last Sunday, and now I forgot.
Okay, we will do some selected questions from here. Since the more difficult questions are at the back, so I'm going to start from the back. So let's go to page 6. I'm going to do, okay, question 11, just leave it. This one is just because this worksheet was prepared in advance, so this one will come back later. You will be asking this like these questions at this point, but we need to know question 10. So let's look at question 10. Okay, they want you to find maximal domain. So whenever you are looking at four functions, so how are we going to find the maximal domain? Maximal domain is also called implied domain. That is going to be valid for the given function. So for this kind of a function, what is the valid range, a valid domain? The things that we have to look at is this particular part where you have a square root. So when you have a square root, anything inside the square root must be, this one must be greater than or equal to 0, right? This is what we have to do. So here in this case, whatever that you have in the square root, if the square root is on the numerator, so the expression that is inside the square root must be greater than or equal to 0 because it cannot be negative. So this is something that you must remember whenever they ask you to find the maximal domain. So in this case, your x must be greater than or equal to -1. So you can write down this way, or in another way, you can write down that it is a -1 to infinity. So either way. So your answer should be either this or this. So normally they will give you 1 mark for that. So in this case, if I'm going to look at this for part B, they want you to find F inverse. So what are the steps that involve? So you assign this one as a y first for you to find F inverse. So square root of x plus 1. Then y minus 1 is equal to square root of x plus 1. You will make x to be the subject of the equations. So we square both sides. So that will be a square equal to x plus 1. So in this case, x is going to be y square minus 1 the whole square minus 1. So this is going to be your f inverse of y. So in f inverse of x is going to be x squared. There is no square, sorry. Yeah. So this is going to be x minus 1 the whole square minus 1. That will be your inverse. Then stop using your handphone. Can you do it? Question 10, we are doing question 10. Then they say that stating the domain and range. So what is going to be your domain? Is it all real value? Okay, what will be the domain? We can say we can have a real all real values, right? Domain is okay. Now let's look at this. How do you find the domain of F inverse? Domain of F inverse is equal to range of F, right? So how do you find the range of F from here? So if you substitute -1 in the original equations, so you will get 1. So 1 to infinity. So in this case, this is going to be 1 to infinity. So that is going to be a domain of F inverse. Then range of F inverse is equal to domain of F, which is -1 to infinity. Okay, so that is a range of domain of F inverse and range of F inverse. So always try to remember this one. So when you are trying to find the domain and range of the inverse function. Okay, so here in this case, it is much easier to draw the inverse function first. Because inverse function is y is equal to, as you can see, it is y is equal to x minus 1 the whole square minus 1. So which is, if I'm going to sketch this graph, it is going to be, because your domain is 1 to infinity, so this you have to start from here. And we know that it is going to be 1 comma minus 1 is your turning point, right? This is a quadratic function, is a parabola. So parabola looks something like this, but you only need to draw this part. So you only need to draw this part. So this is your f inverse. So which is a 1 comma negative 1. This is f inverse of x. Then we also have a y equal to x line.
Why doing the f inverse first rather than the f?
Because it's easier to draw, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
Because this is like, this is a parabolic function. So if this graph, this f inverse is this, from here then we can find what is the points from here. So okay, if for the f is going to be the reverse of it, so which is going to be negative 1 and 1. So this is going to be this point, negative 1 comma 1. As you can see that for the inverse is always x and y coordinate must be swapped, right? And then the graph should look like this because they will intersect at one point on a y equal to x line. So probably a little bit closer. So this is going to be your f of x. So if you are given an inverse function, you should be able to draw the f, or if you are given an f, you should be able to draw the inverse function. So we will be looking at 3 informations when you are sketching. You must always show this point where the intersection on the y equal to x line, and these two must be reversed to each other, and then the graph must be the reflection from each other. So these are the 3 things that I'll be looking at. The intercepts, if you can't find at this point, no problems. I'm not going to mark you for these intercepts. If you can find intercepts, fine. If you can't find intercepts, it's perfectly okay. We'll be looking at 3 things. You have to be cutting at this by intersecting on y equal to x and 6. And then the 2 coordinates must be just opposite to each other because x become y become x, right? That's how it's going to happen. And it must be the reflected image to each other.
What about the point that's intersection of both f inverse and f?
No need to know at this point. Okay, if they want at this level, because for your level, they will not be looking for this one. As long as they intersect at one point, that's fine. We need to show that it intersects. Okay? But when it comes to 3, 4, I mean level, or rather, then we will be looking at how to find those values. At this point, we can't. Unless you use your test. Okay? Okay, so that is, but here they will be asking, of course. So let's try the intersecting point. I think we can still solve this one. When you are trying to sketch, it's not important. They say find the coordinate of the point of the intersection of 2 graphs. So let's try to find the intersection of 2 graphs. This one is x minus 1 the whole square minus 1 equal to 1 plus square root of x, x plus 1. Okay, this 2 is, I think we will have to do, so for D, what is the easiest way to find? So in this case, we will have to sort of like, okay, it is a x minus 1 whole square. It's going to be a 2 plus square root of x plus 1. Yeah, this one we will have to use the test. We have no other choice. During the test, I don't think we got that one.
I didn't bring my cats.
You didn't bring your test. I have one here.
Are we allowed to use our cats or no?
No, you don't really need that one.
And I don't know how to use the cats anyways.
No.
我就现在对我一生一场我想九包
You don't need to.
What?
You don't need the question. What? No, the question doesn't require to use a case in the test. Okay, but here we have to use a case. That will give you x is equal to 3 and y equal to 3. So that will give you 3, 3. Okay. Okay. So that is for this particular type of questions. So you need to know how to use how to find inverse function. Okay, the next one that we need to know is step function, stepwise function. So how are we going to sketch this one? This one you should be able to draw because this one you do not need tests. It's all are linear functions. Okay, they are all linear functions. So they say that when if x is equal to less than or equal to, so that means it is looking at from a negative infinity to 1. Sorry, negative infinity to 0. So if it is 0, your g of 0 is 6. So which means that you will have an intersection of 0, 6. Okay. So if I'm going to look at this on the graph, if I'm going to draw the graph, so they say that when x is less than 0, when x is less than or equal to 0, then we will have an intersection at 6 here. And x plus, this equation is y equal to x plus 6. Your gradient is 1, so you should have something like this is negative 6. So your line should be something like this here. So this is your x plus 6. Okay, then between 0 and 2, so at 0, it's so 0, 2, that is 1 point. Then if it is 2, if x is equal to 2, that is going to be 0. So 2, 0. So 0, 2 and 2, 0. 0, 2 is here, and 2, 0 is here. So that one is going to be the segment. It must be empty circle because both of them are less than or no equal to. So this is your negative x plus 2. Then x greater than 2, then you have to you put in, so it's going to be 5. So you're going to have at 2, it's going to be 2, 5. So 2, 5 is around here. So this is a case. And the gradient should be, this particular line has a gradient 1. Okay? And this one should have a steeper gradient. So whatever that you draw, it must be of the steeper, maybe it's not that steep, maybe of the steeper gradient. So this should be 2x, wait. You must pass through this point, so it should be this way. Okay, so which is going to be a 2x plus 1. So we have a 2, 5 as the starting point. So be careful. I mean, what I'll be marking if it comes out will be the intersection points. Okay, so these points are important. You should be able to label them. Okay, sorry, this one I forgot to label. This one should be 2, 0, 0, 2. and then these points 6, 0. And then the equivalence, I mean, if it contains equal sign, then I'll be looking for the solid circle. If it is without equal to, I'll be looking for the empty circle. And then in terms of the gradient, it must make sense. Okay, if for example, like in this case, if I'm going to sort of like trying to interpolate, it should be cutting above the 0 because your x-intercept is 1. If I'm going to draw and then if it cutting somewhere here, that means I will give wrong for this question. This one, okay? So it must make sense. Or I'm not enforcing you to make sure that it exactly 2 gradient to be 2, but I'll be checking for the intercepts mainly. Okay, this is some most important key points that we'll be looking at when you're marking for your answers. Okay. So this is the step functions that you need to know. This one, I mean, you can do it on your own. I'm not going to do it for you. It's just.
Are we not going to wait? How long is the test?
It's 40 minutes.
Like how many pages?
It's only 30 marks actually.
How many pages though?
Pages is important. No, we have a multiple choice question, 10 marks. 10 multiple choice questions.
Okay.
And 4 technological free question and 1 extended response, which is only 5 marks.
Oh.
So 10
only 5 marks.
Huh?
Only 5 marks. That's like 1/6 of the entire thing.
It's easy. It's very easy. I try to dilute everything into. Yeah, it's very easy. And some can finish in about 20 minutes.
I'm not studying today. I studied that last Sunday. That's it.
Okay. This is just f equal to b equal to 2. So you just have to substitute equal to define this. For example, like here in this case, I think I asked one of the multiple choice questions like this. What you need to do is, for example, like C, you just have to. What does it mean? That means that you substitute 2 in x place equal to -2. Then you look for k. Okay, just solve for k. There's the value of k from here. That's what you need to do. Very simple simplifications of algebraic expression. Question 7, state the maximum domain and corresponding range. Okay, let's look at this. This is again something that some of you are very scared of. Domain and range, whenever you see domain and range, then you get confused. Okay, square root. Any square root function, as I mentioned, the one inside must be greater than or equal to 0. So your domain is going to be, domain will be from 0 to infinity. And then your range will be, because if it is 0, it will start from 4, because when you put in 0, it's going to be 4. So in this case, your range will be from 4 to infinity. Make sense?
Do we have to draw any graphs on the test?
It's just a very simple graph. It's a quadratic graph.
No.
Just a very simple quadratic graph.
Uninstall life.
It's like x squared graph.
No, I hate graphs.
I want to go kill myself.
In VCE, you can't hate graph at all. You are going to see that almost half of the question paper is filled with graph.
I didn't know.
Just ask.
Graph. She always likes to.
I don't care. Ask. Try.
Then I'll bring half.
Sorry.
Okay, the next function is as a reciprocal function. Any reciprocal function, your denominator cannot be equal to 0, right? So this one cannot be equal to 0, which means x cannot be equal to 2. So in this case, your domain is for all real value of x, remove 2. That means 2 is, you can just say like this. I can still give you a mark if you write down like this. Or it will be better if officially this is how you write down for domain is all real values subtract 2. That is the expected. Okay. So if it is x is equal to a 2, then your range is going to be because this is what we call it right? So for your range, it cannot be equal to 0, because if it is equal to 0, it's going to be like going up, because this is a what we call it rectangular hyperbola. So it will be range is going to be I do not ask these reciprocal functions, so don't worry about this range. Same thing goes here. Your denominator x plus 2 cannot be equal to 0, so which means that your domain is all real values subtract 2. Negative 2. And as you can see for this function, this value is greater than or equal to 0, because square will always be greater than 0. So in this case, your range will be starting from 3 all the way to infinity. Because it cannot be equal to 0, also it cannot be equal to 3. So it must be a round bracket rather than a square bracket. It is not inclusive. So this is your range. Is that okay? All right. So going up to this, okay, maybe I'll do this quickly. F circle G. So f of GG is 1 minus 4x. So in this case, it's going to be a 1 minus 4x the whole square. G circle f is g of x squared. So it is going to be 1 minus 4x squared. As you can see, these two may not be the same unless they are inverse functions of each other. So normally you need to always understand that G circle f in most of the cases is not the same as f circle G. So f of G of minus 1 is you sub in minus 1 into G. So that will give you f of negative 1 is going to give you a 5. So which is going to be a 25. 5 squared 25, right? I hope you understand what I'm trying to do. This is simply f of g of negative 1 is 1 minus 4 times negative 1. So that gives you f of 5. F of 5 is 5 squared, which gives you 25. Then again, g of f of minus 1. So I will substitute minus 1 the whole square. That gives you g of 1. G of 1 is 1 minus 4 times 1. That gives you negative 3. I think I asked something like these questions in a multiple choice. Just to substitute their values. All right? Questions? This one, okay. Again, if I'm going to draw, maybe let's draw this one, copy an inverse function of it. So for the inverse functions, as you can see, if this is 0.5, it should be a 0.5 and 0. So 0.5, 0. Okay. And then this is 6, 4. So you must have a 4, 6. And then it must cut through this to here. So again, I'll be looking for this and this reflection, this intersection point, and this reflections. for the inverse function.
So you just need to find like the reflected part.
Yep. Remember, this is y equal to x squared. Whenever you reflect, your x and y coordinate will be swapped. Okay, any questions so far? Patience is going to get full mark today. Yeah.
Not happy.
Okay, right. Let me see whether the rest of again this is
What about the last question?
okay. Maybe let me look at these questions. Question 5. Before we go over to the test, for each of the following, maybe I don't need to do a straight line because these are straight lines. Straight lines are easy for you to do, right? Maybe this 5C. Let's look at 5C. When you write down like this, h from 0 to 6, this is your domain. That means you are going to do only 0 to 6 here. To R. Then your h of x is equal to negative x squared. So what is going to be the range of x? Because you need to know range of x, h, for you to be able to get your domain, right? So what is going to be the range of h? So if you substitute 0, you will get 0. We don't have negative 0. When you substitute 6, it's going to be negative 36. So which means it is going from negative 36 to 0. That is going to be your range. So that is the first part. They say find the range. So now we know the domain of h and we know the range of h. So this will become your domain of h inverse, and this is going to be range of h inverse. All right. So for any question,
Wait, how is it negative 36?
you put in 6 here. One-to-one function, you can just substitute the endpoints. Because something inversible means 1 to 1 is to 1, one-to-one function.
Wait,
Yes.
so is that applicable with other equations too?
Any. Because anything which can be inverse is 1 to 1. So you don't need to care about in between. You just have to substitute the endpoints to know the range.
Okay.
That's why we particularly focus on one-to-one functions only.
Wait, so you just substitute the endpoint to the other equation?
This one? Yeah. So if you substitute like -1, what do you get?
I don't know.
12, right?
Yeah, 12.
12. And then when you put in 5 here, what do you get? 0, right?
Maybe. I mean, if you say so, yeah.
So it's if I say so, so it's going to be your range will be this 0 to 12. Of course, you cannot write down 12,0. That is wrong. Okay.
Oh yeah,
Left side is a smaller value, right side is a bigger value. Okay.
But it's you substitute it in, but it's inverse as well. Yeah, I understand. I see.
So when range of original function is the domain of inverse, and domain of original function is a range.
Okay.
So we try to find y is equal to minus h squared. So h squared is going to be minus 1. Then we are going to have a problem, isn't it? But it's okay because that what their range is different. So in this case, f
Oh my
It's gonna be
god.
so fun.
x is going to be a square root of minus y. So h inverse of x will be
Yeah.
my square root of minus h.
Can it be minus? Wait, because
What?
Yeah,
Okay, so
because your
it's-
domain is negative 36 to 0.
Wait,
So let's see.
What? Why are you asking?
I don't know.
So this is your part 2 and part 3. your domain of H inverse is negative 36,0, and range of H inverse is 0,6.
Can you do question 3C?
Sure, no problem.
The only way.
Shut up.
She asked me about, okay, now, report it. Can we start the test now?
One more question before that. I'll start at 4:15.
Okay.
3C. Range of f. So here in this case, they say f of 0, so they are trying to find f of 0. So they say that it's x greater than -6, and this is the case. So in this case, what is f of 0? 0 is where? Is it greater than -6?
Less or greater than negative.
So it should be in the first, because this one 0 falls into this, so you have to substitute here. That will be a 6 squared plus 2. That gives you 38, right? And the f of -6 should be here as well, so which is going to be 2. Then they say range of f. So how do you find the range of f? So anything which is greater than, what is going to be the range of this? It's from 2 to infinity, right? What about this? If you put in -6, what do you get? 2, right? So it is from infinity to 2. So your range is, let me double check, of f. So what is going to be this? Because if you put in like negative, it will be okay, sorry, here also the opposite way, 2 to infinity like this. Because if you put in anything negative, your value will be positive. There is no negative. So if you have to intersect these two, or sorry, if you have to, combine these two, because this is inclusive, not intersect, it's union. Union these two, your range is going to be from 2 to infinity. Yes. Is that okay? Any other questions? You already said earlier?
What was the question 11? I'm not too sure how that.
11. I particularly skip it because you don't really need it at this point as well.
Okay, alright. Get them all out of here.
Wait a minute, bro.
Can you quickly read question 2E?
I don't know.
3 doesn't have E,
No, 2E.
or 2E.
Oh, shoot. Which one is this again? Oh.
Is on a number line. -3, so this is going to be a -3. This is going to be a 5. They say you subtract inclusive, mean this one become like this. So this is your number line. I do not ask any of these, so don't worry. I don't like drawing number lines. So it should be this and this. Okay, because you subtract the one which is equal.
Why is it circle bracket like not filled in?
Because you subtract the solid circle, so it will become empty circle. Because the one that you subtract is this and this to this. This is what you subtract.
Oh yeah.
Right? You subtract this and this from R, that means you have, it will become like an empty circle.
Oh, I see.
You take away this.
Wait, can you do never mind, so good. Yeah, no, sure, so good.
Sure, any other questions? One is pretty easy, right? You just have to like sketch. Then you need to know how to sketch this.
Can you take us to 1, please?
Sketching for -4e squared, so it should be a concave down like this, right? Yeah, so just have to look at like if it is 1, it should be -4. So it's like 1 comma -4. So this particular point is important. So -4 squared. Then they say for G this to this, sketch the graph and then state. So they want you to only -2 to 3. So if I'm going to draw, this is for R to R. Your R to R, so you have to draw everything. If it is -2 only, -2 is going to be a -8. So if you substitute -2 here, it's going to be a -2 comma, wait, -16. So -2 comma -16, so this particular point. If it is 3 squared, so 36, -36. So 3 -36 is here. 3 comma -36. So these are your two endpoints. Just asking to draw these two endpoints. This is 3, this is -2. And this is -2 comma.
Wait, do we get held back if we fail? Like held back here?
Held back here? What do you mean by held back here?
I don't know, because the school exams like going around, the teacher said we wouldn't get held back if we fail, like if we fail. But our parents would be called if we like, do the
A particular assessment fund for us is to know where your weaknesses are.
Oh.
For you also the same thing, where do you need to actually revise? Okay, it is not for the purpose of penalty, just for the purpose of assessing where you are. Okay, so try your best. Racing, can you move now? It's already 4:15.
Can do the race, be gone.
Let me finish this, man.
You can finish over there. Okay.
Sorry, give me.
Sorry. Because
My pencil, I need.
But I needed
For the test,
Thanks.
I'm not doing a math in the pen,
I am.
Thank you very much. It's so kind.
then I'm not doing a test.
The school test is
it's 40 minutes.
It's so kind.
do we get this
Very
as reference
good.
notes?
Oh my god.
You can, but you don't really need a test. Like,
So the test, do you have pencil? And
I don't have a pen, here it is, but I have a pencil.
Grayson. Surely.
Timer.
And I have a chart.
Such a nice version of it.
What the hell is this?
Actually,
You just call them black minutes, what the hell?
Okay, 40 minutes. Start now.
Wait, so it's until 55, right?
Yeah, I mean here is a timer.
Oh,
If you need calculator, here is yours.
wait, are we allowed to use the calculator?
You can, but I'll be looking at your walk-ins as well, of course.
Wait, are we allowed reading time or is it included in 40 minutes?
I give you 5 minutes extra, right? So until 5 o'clock. Actually, there's nothing to read.
I'm reading the questions right now.
Okay, next time that I'll include that. You may stop the recording. We don't need the recording anymore. Thank you. It's being recorded. For Meta. She's sick.
Meta.
Meta.
The medal.
She was also absent in chemistry.
Oh, she does chemistry.
Yeah.
Sorry, misclicked.
What is that? Absolute value.
Yeah, modulus. Modulus, you know, but that one is like I haven't heard that. Modulus is like very long already. It's like your gen stuff.
Yep, never heard.
You have about 10 more minutes.
So what's our cost? Basically,
Yep.
can I don't want to look at it.
What do you mean? You still have about 5 minutes.
I don't want to look at it anymore. Pissing me off this paper, I don't look at it anymore. The last question.
You still have time, just make use of it.
Okay. Might as well, give out the last question. Last question, which one? 1, 2, or 3? The last one. I did 1, I can't do 2 or 3. Oh.
They are all related, right?
I think I did 1 right, I don't know.
Okay, so this time's up. Let's see. If you are ready, you may submit. We are done. I believe.
Stop.